We are back live and direct in Washington, D.C. from the Conservative Political Action Conference, and our next guest has just given a speech that has transformed presidential politics. The governor of Minnesota, Tim Pawlenty. How are you, Governor?
Well, that's probably a bit of an overstatement.
I don't know. I mean, it's just like I'm on the air, and I'm talking, and all of a sudden there's this lightning bolt going through here, and I'm saying, well, what happened? They said, you cannot believe the speech Tim Pawlenty just gave.
Oh, you're kind. But, the reason I was so inspired is because the fabulous First Lady of Minnesota is with me, and she was sitting in the front row, and so that got me very excited.
As the biggest fan of my wife, Maria, I know how Mary could fire you up as well in that regard. It kind of grounds us, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
It puts us on our A game.
That's exactly right.
When we have the love of our life near us. And Mary, it's nice of you to be along.
Thanks, I appreciate it. And it's radio, so you can't tell. I mean, he looks gorgeous today. Doesn't he look like $1 million?
He's a homer.
I did notice, and I don't want to turn into a metrosexual here, but I did notice he has quite the tan. He's a
good-looking guy.
He's tan, rested, and ready.
Yes. Now, whose line was that? Nixon's? I don't know if that's a good slogan.
No, we don't want to go there.
We probably don't want to go there. Yeah, you're right. No, seriously, this is, and last night I was visiting with some friends off the lobby, and there's the thunderous applause takes off, and I said, what happened? They said, Governor Pawlenty just walked in. So
we had a little young person's reception last night. It was a great, raucous crowd, a lot of fun. Some people in the pundit class, I think the Republicans are all, stodgy folks. You should have seen this group last night. You stopped in for a little while, Scott. Yeah. It was an excited, young, energetic group, and we need them as a party, as a movement. If we're going to go forward, we need to make sure we reach out and make space for young people.
Is this fun?
Are you talking to me?
I'm going to talk to you first because you obviously are a mom and a wife, and this is
a ball. This in particular, this is just the energy, the passion. I just can't describe to you. It is. It's almost electric. This is terrific. It couldn't be more fun.
How about you? Is this a grind, or is this a battle?
This is a labor of love, Scott, and it's important. When people talk about all these political considerations, the fact of the matter is our nation's in trouble, and whether you're right or left, center, or something else, or neither, good people with good hearts and strong beliefs need to rise up and say, this is worth fighting for, this matters. So I'm so proud to see people from all across this country, everyday people, saying, we remember the Constitution, we remember what those principles mean, we know why this country was a success, and if you try to take it off tracks like the current administration is going to do, we're going to fight. And then you're seeing the results of that, a nation ignited, a nation inspired, with the results in Virginia, New Jersey, Massachusetts, saying to the federal government, enough of running over the limited notions of government, enough of the grotesque spending, enough of the overreach, and that is a beautiful thing to see democracy saying, we're putting a check and balance on overreaching government.
It wasn't enough for you to say enough. You even had kind of a visual that you shared with the audience on what should happen that dovetails very nicely with what's in the news today.
Well, of course, the big story is Tiger Woods is having his press conference down in Florida over his unfortunate situation. And I said, we can all learn from that. And not from Tiger, but from his wife. And she said enough, that she'd had enough, no more. And so, like her, we should take out a 9-iron and smash out the back window of big government.
A good line, and brought the house down today without question. But true enough, really. I mean, we've seen it. I've been in every corner of Minnesota, from up to Thief River Falls, down to Perham and Otter Tail County, and Fergus Falls. I've been all throughout North Dakota, the heartland of America, seeing what I call a sleeping giant being awakened in real people for the first time in their lives, actively involved in something because they're very concerned about the direction this country is going.
You just put your finger on something that I think doesn't get told enough. There's an assumption that it's just the usual cast of characters. There is something brewing here, Scott, that is way beyond that. There are people that I meet who haven't ever been involved, or were involved 20 years ago, who are now coming out and saying, I want to be involved. How can I help? Whether it's tea parties, conservative movements, campaigns, just a grassroots, viral in terms of internet, but also just the grassroots energy. It's genuine, it's real, it's measurable, and it's showing up in these election results. And I think 2010 is going to be a great year, but we have to be careful not to make sure that we just assume everything's going to be great. This momentum is going to have to continue. It's going to have to be fueled.
You have talked a lot about how the Republican Party needs change as well. And, the Sam's Club Republican is your line. Is the Sam's Club Republican different than where the Tea Party is taking us, or the grassroots activism? Do you see a need to bridge that gap at all?
I think it's exactly there. And, the people who fret about, there's these factions or whatever in the conservative movement, I say, It's terrific. We're for dynamic qualities. We're for organizations not stagnating and reinventing themselves. We want people arguing about the right direction, have dynamic qualities. So tea parties, wonderful. Debate within the party, wonderful. More the merrier. Let's have a robust debate, dynamic qualities, competition, debating ideas, exchanging ideas is a healthy, dynamic thing, and it fuels energy. So we don't need a one-size-fits-all monopoly bureaucratic party. Let's break it open. Let's have a fun free-for-all and have the debate.
Why is that debate so hard within the establishment, though? I mean, for instance, we started a first-in-its-kind in the nation event last Friday in Bismarck. Michelle Bachmann came over, Take Back Washington event, and sanctioned by the Republican Party in North Dakota, sponsored with coalition partners. Novel concept. All the politicians listened, and the people spoke.
Great, that's great.
And so basically you had folks that had been at tea parties come in, and here's John Hoeven, your fellow governor, sitting there listening. Here's congressional candidates listening. But really, I mean, they came away unscathed. The governor got a standing ovation from the crowd. It wasn't contentious, but it was sort of a show of respect to say, here's how we're different. And by the way, we're announcing a couple in Minnesota very soon, and ramping up to something I know you'll be on the stage for. Sarah Palin coming April 7th.
Yes, co-hosting that event with Michelle Bachmann, and so that's going to be great. It's in April.
Yeah, and so could the Republican Party do more to say, hey, we ought to learn a little from these folks?
Absolutely. If you look at the success of the Tea Party, one of the things that I think comes through is the American people responded positively because the message was direct, it was bold, it was truth-telling, and it was based on first principles. And so the Republican Party and conservatives more broadly can look at that and say, you know what, we can take inspiration from that. We can learn from that. And when we get back to the Sam's Club Republicans, my more modern-day phrase for Reagan Democrats, these are people like my brothers and sisters. They're hardworking folks. They're not necessarily, political, activists or whatever, but they're saying, you know what, this stuff's just common sense. If I got to go work and balance my budget and live within my means, so should government. If I got to, work hard and deal with health care and from a market standpoint, then I don't think federal government should take this over. They know that they get paid for performance, not for how many years you've been around, so they favor things like performance pay for teachers. They know that their benefits are more like a 401k than a life entitlement. So they know that has to be reformed. Down the list. So it's just squaring up what most people's reality and common sense and principles are with what we're trying to communicate and project. And those things align nicely, I think. More
and more every day it looks like Barack Obama is going to be Jimmy Carter-like in not only how he's viewed by this country for the policies he's brought, but also a one-termer like Jimmy Carter. So there's going to be quite a robust battle to be that Republican nominee for 2012. To the conservative movement here, to the Tea Party movement there, to Republicans across the nation, why should that nominee be Tim Pawlenty?
Well, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, Scott, but we should focus on 2010. There'll be a time and a place for people to decide whether they're going to run in 2012 and why that should be and what the message should be, and that'll be a great, moment for people to sort that all out. But before all of that, we have 2010, and one of the reasons I'm spending time and energy traveling the country, I've started this PAC called the Freedom First PAC at timpawlenty.com, is the 2010 election. So whether you're Mitt Romney or Sarah Palin or Mike Huckabee or any of these other great leaders who have served their states and our country well, all of us should be focused on what can we do to help blast the message across the country and help the candidates who are in 2010. Tomorrow will take care of itself beyond that.
Well, he's doing great, so stay on the road with him because that was quite the speech, Mary, okay?
Delighted to do it, thanks.
Good to see you, and how are your kids?
Kids are doing terrific. They're on track. Life is good.
Life is good.
Life is terrific.
It is. Well, it's a pleasure to call you a friend. Always welcome you into the Common Sense Club, and hope to see you again soon.
Well, your message, the Common Sense Club, resonates with why this Tea Party movement and the conservative movement is working, Scott. It's based on first principles and common sense, and thank you for championing it.
Great job today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy.
Our guest, Governor Tim Pawlenty on the Scott Hennen Show on the Common Sense Club. We'll take a break and come back with more after this timeout. Do not go away.